Hey, hi, hello. My name is Jakeb Livengood, your host of the Living Good with Jakeb Livengood podcast. Episode 16 today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited to bring you this one. This one's going to be a great one. So, you've gone down the rabbit hole of online ventures. You're like, okay, all right, Jake, I buy into it. This whole internet thing's not going anywhere. It's not a fad. You can really make money online. It's a real thing. So I want to divest. I want to figure this out. Where do I start? What is the best starting place? And I have the answer for you, and it's a big one, and it is something that you should be working on day in, day out, every day. Just starting this alone is something that will put you on the path of being a meaningful, specific, not a wandering generality. And what is that? It is a personal brand. Okay? Let's dive in. This is a big one, okay? A personal brand. What does it really mean? What is it? Why is it important? Okay? So, for starters, my name is Jakeb Livengood. I have a digital brand identity called Jakeb Livengood. My name. Now, what is the difference? Okay, one is me, a human being. I have a social security number. Okay, I'm an individual. I'm an American citizen. The other one, my digital brand identity, is prescribed to an ethos online. I'm a public figure. I'm a media emblem. Okay, I put content out into the world that is media content. I have a multi-member S Corp that is owned. It owns my online entity that has an EIN. So there's Jakeb Livengood, me, the individual, the American citizen with a social security number. There's Jakeb Livengood, the digital media brand, media company that has an EIN, that is a business, okay? Cumulatively, across all three of my personal brands that I own, that I've built, I have almost 800,000 followers I'm approaching, okay? 800,000. It's a big number, but at the end of the day, all glory to God. I've been given this platform for a purpose, and that is to share the kingdom. But I wouldn't have any of it without God and without the work ethic and discipline to get here. Now, why did I do it? Right? In 2018, I started my first online business, which was Amazon FBA, and then I started right next to it. I started documenting online and making content about the things I was learning, the things I was doing on a daily basis, explaining and breaking down my cost basis and how much money I was making, why I was doing it, how I was doing it, all of it, super transparently. And what that did over time was build me a digital identity, a brand. Is that important, really? Let's talk about it, right? Because since then, not only have I advised Fortune 500 companies on their brand strategy, their ethos, how to get their marketing funnels dialed in, okay? Not only that, I've been flown out in a very particular instance, right? This is super, one situation that happened, but this situation wouldn't have come across my desk and been a thing outside of building this brand entity, okay? I was found on social media. I was reached out to in my email, and they provided me the opportunity. They paid me multiple four figures, flew me out. Now, it wasn't like first class or private or anything. It was a regular airplane, but they flew me out to Miami, Florida, put me up in a 4-star resort for 3 days, got me into, not just into backstage VIP access to a blockchain conference, but they also put me on stage, paid me to talk, and what I was talking about was digital branding in Web3 and the metaverse and gaming, DeFi gaming, blockchain gaming, and how that all ties into Web2 converting into Web3. So I was literally getting to shill a project that I actually received financial gain from getting this project higher in critical mass and get it to an adoption curve. Not only did I get to grow a brand that I'm involved with, I got the publicity of being on stage, the experience of getting to public speak. I got paid for all this. I got to go to parties. I got to be VIP backstage access, talking to speakers way bigger, way more accomplished in the world than I am. And I got in there. I got that social credibility because I had a number of followers behind my belt, which led people to believe, okay, this person has some sort of merit. There's meritocracy here. This person knows something about something. That was what got my foot in the door. Then they came to watch the content and the things I was talking about, and they realized, okay, this guy actually is legit. He knows what he's talking about. He has value to provide, and he's a well-known public figure. So when we have him involved in our ecosystem, he can actually then cross-share that, and then that will provide value. Again, double back, that's mutually exclusive value for our brand, right? This happened because I built a brand. Events and situations like this continue to happen because I've built a brand. Now, it seems kind of superficial, but it's really not. Like, when I went out into an event out there in Miami that I was with a couple of my other homies, we had a few big public figures with us, not like crazy A-list recognizable, but like cumulatively between all of us, we had a few million followers, and we had a videographer with us, right? We had a videographer, we're vlogging everything that's going on, and we went to a club, big waiting list, right? Gigantic line, probably 500 people waiting in line, literally almost a quarter mile of a line, people backed up, waiting in red velvet ropes to get in here. And we skipped the line. We just get to walk right by the line, and we got escorted right in. Why? Meritocracy. We had that importance, perceived importance, but it still is a legit thing, right? Now, that's something that has been added to my life because of branding. Not only that, but let's say another minute example, right? I was talking to an individual, and I don't really like to play the card of, accolades and success. In fact, when I meet someone in person, I never tell them what I do, who I am, or anything. I just let them figure it out by themselves. But I just ask leading questions that are intentional, right? Like, I met this guy in the sauna at the gym. We were talking, I was talking to him about what his PQOs are, what he's actually trying to do with his life, what's his meaning for existence, right? What is your intention behind being here? What are you trying to do? Myself, I'm trying to render useful service to the world as I'm called by Jesus Christ to do. And, not telling him about all the businesses and accolades I do, just asking leading questions. Oh yeah, you're in college? Well, what are you studying? How do you intend to use that in your future career? What is it that you're passionate about that you want to do? And these intentional, willful questions lead this person to believe, and not like falsely, right? They're believing it based on the conversation we're having, but this person comes to an understanding, hey, this individual talking to me is an intentional person that has value. They have meritocracy. They're not just trying to talk to me about sports or the weather. This person's talking to me about real stuff. So this person might be somebody. And then we connect digitally. And they always, every time I have an experience like this, they always have a little fangirl moment out. And they look me up and they're like, dude, wait, you have like a lot of followers online, bro. And I'm like, yeah, I have like a couple, like a few more than 5, right? I always downplay it, right? It's it's funny, but it's also being humble. Like, it really doesn't matter. And I tell people that. But it does matter at the same time because it opens up doors to opportunity for you. Now, I want it to be abundantly clear. I'm ranting and raving about building a personal brand, and it is beautiful and it's a great thing, but I do want it to be abundantly clear, okay? Opportunities and doors like this didn't open for me until almost 4.5, 5 years into my process. This is a thing, okay? This is a big thing. When you start building and you become a personal brand, you start posting on the internet about something that you intend to be a SME around, which is a subject matter expert, something that you're passionate about, you love, you could be just learning it, right? That's another limiting belief. You do not have to be an expert to start posting about it. You can be a beginner. If you have joy about it, you love it, you enjoy doing it, start posting about it. Just start. Even though you're a rookie, you're a novice, you're a beginner, just start. Okay, because that's where it starts. Everybody starts as a beginner. Another thing that I want to break into your mind and make sure that you understand with this whole, it took me 4.5, 5 years to start getting opportunity. When you start, whether you're actually super advanced when you start and you're absolutely just dropping value bombs right on their faces day one, or you're a beginner and you're just starting, I want to set the intention clear in your mind. No one cares. Okay, it's a big one. All right. Nobody cares. When you start posting about stuff that you love, you find value in, you enjoy sharing it, you're making content for you because you're like, hey, I really love this. I want to find a way to make this my livelihood because I enjoy doing this. Nobody cares until, hear me out, this is important. Nobody cares until they do. Your closest friends and family, the people around you that have known you for a long time, They will downplay your process and the things you're trying to achieve until you are celebrated by random strangers as having made it, quote unquote. Then they'll loop back and go, bro, I always believed in you, bro. Can't believe you did it, bro. That's so cool, man. All right, it's going to happen. All right, it's sad that that's how it works, but it is, man. It is. And now, why am I ranting and raving about this, and why am I sharing this, and what's the actual tactical thing here, right? Okay, first off, let's look at a few examples larger than me. Okay, it's quite a bit larger than me. You ever heard of Jimmy Donaldson? Mr. Beast, commonly known as, okay? This guy, absolute legend, absolute pioneer in the space. Look, you can go look at his old videos, his first videos, and he'll openly admit this. I appreciate his process. I'm not talking disparagingly about him, but he'll openly admit this as himself. He said it in many interviews. His first videos, garbage. Like, he's doing Minecraft Let's Plays. He's like 11 years old. Minecraft Let's Plays. He started doing these dumb little skits with his friends that aren't even entertaining. The quality is terrible. The storytelling is terrible. The shots are terrible. He's shooting it on like an iPhone 4S. Like the camera quality, pixelation's bad, right? They're still up today, right? And then as he started growing and actually catching some momentum, he started doing stupid stuff like saying Logan Paul 100,000 times on a live stream that went almost 28 hours long, right? Legit, this video is still up, right? And so nobody cares until they do, right? Now, Jimmy Donaldson, Mr. Beast, has cumulatively across all his brands more than 2 billion followers. Billion. We're talking about a large percentage of the world. He's a publicly known household name at this point. Not to mention, okay, let's not forget, okay? Let's look at Beast Burger. Let's look at Beast Bars, Beast Chocolate Bars, right? These are consumer packaged goods, CPGs, branded products that were birthed out of a content creator's imagination, and then they used their platform to jettison it to be a market competitor against major household name brands. Beast Chocolates is competing directly against Hershey's, and they're doing what? They're taking a substantial amount of market share, okay? Let's look at Logan Paul, KSI. I don't know the origins of KSI's background, but I know Logan Paul, when him and his brother Jake Paul were in high school, they were just dumb viners. The reason why I know it is because I looked up to them and I was a dumb viner as well. They're a couple years older than me, and I was doing the same stuff at a smaller scale, albeit, but I was doing the same stuff in high school, making stupid, dumb 6-second videos. They gained alacrity. They moved that over to another platform, keep growing, keep going. Couple years later, I'm talking, over 10 years later, now they cumulatively have hundreds of millions of followers, hundreds of millions of views. They've built companies, KSI, Logan Paul, Prime, okay? $1 billion valuation in its first year of launch, competing against Gatorade. And again, same deal, taking major market share. Something Patrick Bet-David said, and it's huge, it reigns true, and I want to share it here so that you know it, okay? These guys, massive success, huge, okay? And they are major recognized public figures that are household names at this point. And Patrick Bet-David made it very apparent. He said, look, the next Fortune 100 companies in the next wave of actual building and development and business and the financial markets, these Fortune 100 companies now are going to be personal brands. They're not going to be companies, these big technocrat companies, right? They're going to be individuals that have built a name and a brand for themselves, a face as a media personality. Your Jimmy Donaldsons, your Logan Pauls, your Jake Pauls, they are going to be the next predominant market leaders that are moving markets and industries just by talking, by being media personality. Your Joe Rogans, right? Okay, think about this. Here's where it's really important. And Patrick Bet-David coined this as well. I always want to call back to where I'm getting my information and seeking this information and always sharing it. PBD says, talking to you, anybody that's listening, you are a media company. You might not understand it yet. You might not operate and act that way, Regardless of which, if you have 2 followers on Instagram, 2 of them, 2 people, your mom and your dad, all right, you're a media company. And you should start acting like it, because if you're starting to post content online, you're working to become a SME in a specific area. Again, SME, subject matter expert. You are now a media company. At some point in time, as you continue to build and grow and do this, you will become relevant if you do not quit. You stay disciplined, you stay persistent, you learn the skill sets necessary to build a personal brand, which, by the way, I teach all of these things in the CCK, the Conscious Creator Kingdom, which is one of my business accelerators. It's an entrepreneur accelerator where I help people build multiple streams of income, build their brand, and the whole shebang, break their limiting beliefs. We got a couple other coaches. We'll do a whole episode about it. I'm going to have some of my co-founders on talk about it, right? Whole different episode there. But building a personal brand is one of the most powerful things you can do, because it pays dividends. It pays more than you can even begin to quantify. I'm telling you, because maybe you're working a job right now and you're getting paid between $18 and $25 an hour, right? And your bills and expenses all accumulated up. You're saving $300 to $700 a month after all your expenses, okay? What would change for you if every month, by filming 4 videos a day that takes you a cumulative 45 minutes, and then you have an editorial team, and then they're cross-posting that up on all your social platforms, and every single month, just through ad revenue and brand sponsorships and deals from a KBB, a knowledge-based business that's built in, you have a funnel on the back end of your digital brand. What would change for you if every month you were bringing in $5,000 to $10,000 net? So you still got your job, you're still saving your $300 to $800 a month from your job, but now you've just got an extra $5,000 to $10,000 net popped into your bank account that you're like, okay, so now I have this money to allocate towards something. Now you're no longer living paycheck to paycheck, are you? Now you get the freedom to go, wait a second, why am I even working this job that's paying me $3,500 a month when I could just go all in on my business that's already paying me $5,000 to $10,000, go full time into it, scale it up to $20,000 a month, and now I'm just chilling. Now I just get to do what I love all the time, full time. By the way, these numbers may sound fictitious to you. They may sound out of reach for you. And that is because your limiting beliefs, your perception of reality, as a man thinketh, so shall he become in the Bible, your perceptions and the limiting beliefs, the glass ceilings that you've set as your limits in your own mind, make you think it as such. It's actually not that far off. It's not inconceivable. What if I told you it's easy to make $10,000 a month online? Perhaps red flags are pinging off and you're going, no. It's not easy. It's not easy. He's lying. It couldn't possibly be easy. $10,000 a month, infeasible. I have a job that I do full-time, 40 hours a week. I'm making $3,500 a month. $10,000 a month online is easy? No, it's not possible. It actually is. There's a lot of money out there. You would be absolutely surprised. And where that starts is building a brand, becoming a well-recognized public figure. You see, Jakeb Livengood, me as an individual, and Jakeb Livengood, my digital media personality, different. They're different. I'm a human being. I have aspects and nuances to my personality that are not shared public-facing on my brand. I am not Jakeb Livengood that is online. That is a character. That's a media personality, right? It is unfathomable to me for you guys to not be doing this, because here's what it is, ultimately. A series of DMOs, daily methods of operations, whether that be filming, whether that be cross-posting, whether that be doing a live stream and then clipping that up into smaller clips using a team. There are a bunch of different ways that you can go about this whole branding game and building digital identity, and I break all those down in my mastermind. And I help you pick what would make sense most for you based on the medium that you succeed in the best. For me, myself, I'm all right on camera. I'm all right, just smooth flowing, keep going, talking about the verbal vomit that's going on in my mind and explaining how my mind thinks and the concepts and helping educate about the things that I understand. I'm good in this facility. I'm good in this faculty. So that's how I do it. Right? I'm good at live streaming. So I live stream across multiple brands, multiple platforms all the time. And then I use that content from those lives to create content, right? I do it in a way that it optimizes my time. So I'm always double or triple dipping on time so that it doesn't become an overarching, overbearing thing that I can't manage to get done, right? And that comes down to the understanding of building the brand and having understanding of minute micro processes that makes it easier, right? Because Gary Vee says put out 60 pieces of content a day. How am I supposed to do that if I have a full-time job? I can't. And then you just stop going down the rabbit hole. You're like, it's impossible. Well, it's not for me. It is for you. You just haven't quite figured that out yet, because maybe you love underwater basket weaving and you want to make that something that you're a hobbyist about. Maybe you're a big fan of skateboarding, right? It could be literally anything. That's what I want everybody to understand. You can build a brand and a digital identity about anything. Jakeb Livengood is all about personal development, the hero's journey, entrepreneurship, documenting my life, how I've built and scaled. I have Dynamics Gaming, which is literally just around gaming, video games. I was like, hey, I like playing video games. I'm really good at this game called Clash Royale, right? It's a tower defense game. I'm really good. I'm in the top 1% of the game. So I was like, hey, I like playing this game, but I feel unproductive when I'm just sitting here playing this video game an hour a day. So I started live streaming and built a brand presence around it, and whoop-de-doo. Would you imagine it actually blew up? Because I've got personality, I'm funny, I'm good at the game, and I can be consistent. And bada bing, bada boom, that's the formula. I blew up. Now I got a whole nother brand. What? You see what I'm saying? Like, you can find a way to monetize your passions. And if you're not, you might not be optimally moving forward towards your goals, dreams, and visions. And maybe that's because you haven't even set goals, dreams, and visions yet. You haven't even realized that it's possible for you. I want to let you know it's possible for you. It took me years. Literally, I was building my brand. I didn't make my first penny until 4.5 years online, specifically when it comes to branding. I made my first penny online using Amazon FBA within a week of starting, right? Because I educated myself. So that's a whole different thing, right? And then I started documenting that. But as I'm documenting it and growing my brand, I had 300,000 followers before I ever had an offer and made penny one online, right? And that's a little different than most people do it. Most people build a KBB, a knowledge-based business, start selling a course, start selling an information product, start selling consulting, start selling personal development, whatever it is, right? And that's a very viable strategy. But, following ethics from Gary Vee, I mean, jab, 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 right hook. You only get one reputation. So it's best to actually just jab and provide value over an extended period of time before you ever right hook, which is an ask, which is a close, which is a sale. And that's the way I went about it, and it worked. Can you believe it? Gary Vee knows what he's talking about. By the way, Gary Vee. I talked about Jimmy Donaldson. I talked about Logan Paul. I talked about Joe Rogan. Gary Vee, right? Let's look at his backstory a little bit. He's from Belarus. He's a first-generation immigrant, right? Living in New York in a tiny little apartment with his family, basically the stacks, living it up. He's running his dad's liquor store. This whole internet thing starts popping up, and he's like, wait a second, hold on. I could start running Google AdWords and doing PPC, pay-per-click advertising on Google for my dad's company, scales it up 3 million to 60 million, right? He's a bus boy, a bag boy, bagging wine, doing cashier work at 26 years old. And he goes, you know what? I want to start the Ask Gary Vee show. And he starts live streaming wine tasting. While he's passionate about trading cards and the flip life, going to garage sales and making money. And by the way, he starts doing this, and everybody on the internet's like, stay in your lane, wine boy, right? Talking crap. Guess what? Gary Vee now owns VaynerX. He's a prominent public figure, majorly known, and he has a brand consultancy that brand images and does marketing. It's a whole marketing SMA for Fortune 100 companies now. Huge agency, huge entrepreneur, publicly known. Guess what? He has a personal brand. Gary Vee and Gary Vaynerchuk, different. Gary Vaynerchuk's a guy. Gary Vee is an online personality. Gary Vaynerchuk owns Gary Vee. Are you following me? This is something you can do. And it's something you should do. Because if you do this over an extended period of time for several years, worst case scenario, absolute worst case scenario, you have, you're growing really slow. You have like 3,000 followers after doing it, posting consistently for 5 years. You're still not really making much money. Maybe you're making $100 to $300 a month just organically off of ad revenue, right? We're talking worst worst possible scenario. Like, this is the worst. You're consistent. You're posting for 5 years. You got a tiny little audience that's super niche, but some of those people that follow you really value you and love what you do. So they're what's known as true fans, okay? You're making a couple bucks here and there online, right? Supplementing your income. Maybe your phone bill's covered, okay? Worst case scenario, that's what happens. Best case scenario, you blow up. You're the predominant market leader shmee in your specific niche. You have tens of millions of followers. You're making over $100,000 net per month organically just off of the content that's already posted on your brand. Where's the downside risk? There isn't. Why would you not choose to spend some time every day working towards building something digitally that can allow you to monetize your passions? Why would you not do that? It's free. It's free. Now, it does take some subject matter experts. You need to know what you're doing, subject matter expertise. You need to know how to do it. You need to be intentional about it. You know, the way I did it, I didn't have a mentor. I just threw stuff at the wall until stuff started sticking. And then I was like, well, that works. People like to hear about that, so I'm going to keep posting about that. And that worked. Would you believe it? Like, it doesn't have to be complicated. You can keep it simple. You can keep it simple and just do it. Really, the number one thing about building a brand that matters the most is consistency. Keep coming up. Keep going to take your at-bat. Every post, every potential post that you post, every post that you post is a potential at blowing up. And by the way, we've talked multiple episodes about input versus output focus. Input focus versus output driven, right? And like, the output doesn't matter. You post on TikTok, you get 100 views. You post on TikTok, you get 100 views. You post 85 more times on TikTok, one of your videos gets 300 views, but most of them get 100 to 150 views. Are you going to get discouraged and quit and give up and never post again? Or are you going to keep posting? Because guess what? Your 137th post, boom, 10 million views. You blow up. You have 80,000 followers now. You create an offer, KBB. Now you make $20,000 net a month. And you go, wow, I can't even believe it was this easy. I had to post 137 short form vertical pieces of content. Now, obviously, this is fictitious, right? It could be 1,000 pieces of content. It could be 5. Who knows? But you're never going to know if you don't take the shot. I think it's wildly unfortunate if you hear a message like this and then you go, you know, I'm going to play it safe. I've got this job that, I don't love it. I don't love what I do, but, I'm paying my bills. I'm comfortable. I'm good. I have this passion over here that I've sort of shoved off into the closet, not really looking at it, don't care because it's not worth anything. It's not making me any money. I enjoy doing it. I love it, but whatever. It doesn't make me a lifestyle. It doesn't make me a living. And then you hear this message and you don't go, wow, you're not fired up. You're like, I can make my passion, the thing that I love, that I'm a hobbyist about. I can slowly but surely turn that into my lifestyle, my livelihood. Wow. And then you start executing on it. I think it's a worthwhile pursuit. Look at my life. I couldn't have even imagined in 2018 when I started, and I started with just mutual people that I knew from high school. I probably had like 250 or 400 followers, right? And actually I started long before that because I was a Viner in high school, right? But when Vine shut down, I didn't actually cross-pollinate my platforms. I'll regret that my whole life, right? But it's all good. I made it up. Who knows where I'd be, though, if I did that and continue to jettison the compound interest. That could have been fantastic. I could be at 10 million followers already. But it's fictitious. It doesn't matter because I'm input focused, not output driven. So that means I'm focused on the inputs, the things I'm doing today to move me forward in my process, right? And so when I started talking about Amazon FBA and personal development and reading books, I had like 300 followers. I couldn't have even imagined that I'm going to have 0.8 million followers in 2024 just by doing things that I love. I mean, yes, that's the goal and that's where you're trying to head. But like, even after it happens, it's almost fairy tales. It's almost like, wow. And then you get this sense of overwhelming gratitude and fulfillment because you're like, it really, like, this wasn't fake. It like really, I stayed consistent. I stayed disciplined, and it really happened for me, man. For me. I never thought it could happen for me, but it did because I did it. It's one of the most beautiful things. and then to be able to reach back down that ladder and help other people do the same and build a brand that they love. When I was running my tech company, I actually hosted bi-monthly calls, so 2 a month, on personal branding, mastery. A bunch of people said, none of this matters, man. And then a couple of guys, 4 guys to be exact, listened, and they executed on this information diligently that I shared with them on personal branding strategies, how to do it, how to make it built cross-platform. And one of them now has 600,000 followers just on one singular platform. He's passed me. He's surpassed me. I love that for him. That's awesome. 1, because he became successful. 2, because he became successful off the information I provided him, which is a confirmation bias for me, which is awesome. I'm like, dang, like I really did provide information and help that guy blow up. He's the one that did the work. He was the one that was consistent. He was the one that was disciplined to the process and the journey. But I sort of nudged him in the right direction, and I think that's really cool, right? It's a confirmation bias that proves to me and to everybody else that listens, look at that guy. He's a case study. It can be done. He did it, so why can't you do it? It all comes down to mindset. That's the first one, and we talk about that and help you break past those glass ceilings in the CCK, because if you don't believe you can do it, as a man thinketh, so shall he become. If you don't believe that it's for you, it's not going to be for you. You're not going to experience that reality. Simple as that. So, build a personal brand. And the actionable, tangible stuff here is figure out what you're passionate about, which, by the way, you don't even have to figure out, because I know that you already know you have passions that you're not utilizing. You've put them in your back pocket because they don't make me money, right? Find your passion. Start sharing your passion hobby with the world. Start sharing it with the world. Develop a social media strategy of how you're going to build your brand. What platforms are you going to use? How are you going to cross-post and distribute that everywhere, right? What's going to be the model behind your brand, your type of content, okay? What's going to be the archetype, the personality that you're going to be showcasing? You know, how are you going to show yourself to the world? And then start executing on it. Be disciplined, be consistent. Over a long enough period of time, you can't even begin to imagine where that will take you. I'm grateful if you stuck around this whole way. We'll do a bunch of episodes on personal branding, and maybe I'll make a couple of tactical episodes too. I mean, I like to keep the tactical stuff for my mastermind. I don't want to give away all the sauce out here publicly, right? But, you know, we'll drop some keys, right? Build a personal brand, please. If you've learned anything, if you've taken anything from this video, this podcast, like, build a brand, because it is the best thing ever. I mean, like, to go touch back one more time on what Jimmy Donaldson, what Logan Paul did, right? Once you've built a brand, and then if you want to go do something else, like a chocolate company or a hydration beverage, these are examples. These are real world, tangible examples, case studies that have been done. If you've got this gigantic brand, this army, people that love, trust, and respect you because you built this brand, you're a media empire by yourself as a personality, and then you go build this other thing, and your name's attached to that other thing, and you start promoting it. Like you've got an entire marketing arm and department built inside yourself. You go, I'm going to build this company that's this thing that I want to do, and it's a startup and it's ground zero, but I already have 10 million followers over here, so that day one I launch it, I'm going to go talk about it on my brand and organically bring a bunch of traffic and a bunch of sales volume into my company. You just growth hacked your new venture that you wanted to start because you already had a gigantic digital footprint. You see how crazy it becomes? It gets to scale. It's just, to get to scale, that's an adventure. Please build a personal brand. Please. Do not let your passions die without ever showcasing them to the world, because you deserve to take up more space in this world. I want you to actually have that platform that you deserve. You have value to give to the world. You're the light of the world. Stop diminishing your own light because of an insecurity or because of a limiting belief. Do more and be more. You're capable of more than you're currently exerting outwardly. I love you. I hope you have a wonderful, blessed, beautiful day. Stay winning, stay motivated, keep growing, keep glowing, keep going. See you guys.